Racial discrimination is still going on today. It's going on in societies, and it can be seen through the public school system. This research focused on the achievement gaps between Black and white students. Moreover, it's going to focus on the systematic failures, the differences in expectations due to biases of teachers and faculty, and how that impacts students. It's also going to focus on how students overcome issues of discrimination within the public school system, and why achievement gaps are still enacted. In the history of public education, there are two main court cases. Plessy v. Ferguson, held in 1896, ruled that places can be separate but equal. This also reached the education system, in fact, when Black students had to have their own schools. While they had their own schools, they had little funding in comparison of white communities who had the abundant funding for textbooks and supplies. In the second court case, Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka, it overturned the ruling and desegregated white schools and Black schools. Since then, there has been systemic racism and discrimination within the policies of public education. Many students of color were often left behind, and according to researchers, continuously fell under the bell curve and hidden from test results until President Barack Obama enacted the No Child Left Behind Act. This was a major enactment which resulted in creating reality about the achievement gaps. And it looked into how schools were divided and created. And this is seen through the multiple governmental policies, including ways schools are funded, the ways students are tested, and how schools create different hierarchies which disengage and create negative atmospheres for students of color. Now, according to research, many systematic failures include the opportunities that are given and hidden, the funding distribution, and the training of teacher biases in education systems. First off, opportunity hoarding is a common way that creates a crisis for students of color, especially Black students. This means that opportunities are not equally given. In fact, they are hindered by this. The behaviors of majority students, white students, can impact the ways minorities get information and get assistance in schools. Secondly, the way funding is distributed is through property taxes. Generally, students of color live in low-income areas, which means the property values are low. However, white students tend to live in areas of high property values. Because of the way property values is differentiated, the way funding is distributed is unequal. White students who go to a predominantly white school tend to have greater funding because of the property taxes. And low students who go to predominantly low-income schools have little funding. Because of the limited funding in low-income schools and areas, the teachers who are hired are generally beginning teachers with little experiences, and the supplies of the schools are generally lacking in quality and quantity. One of many other systematic failures is the way teachers have been trained. Teachers are generally white middle-class females, and because of teacher biases, they often set lower expectations and give lower amounts of attention and challenges for students to succeed. White students who attend public school systems are able to connect with teachers more because they share similar cultural lens. However, there are disparities between the relationship of Black students and white teachers because of the cultural lens and differences. ELED touches on systematic failures through the book Despite the Best Intentions. The author illustrates how River Hills High School students are treated. As the author writes, Black students tend to have lower expectations set by teachers. Moreover, the grades of teachers would give the students that would be given to students are lower, and that impacts the grade point averages. Moreover, there is less training for those students, which often results in lower standardized scores. In this system, Black students often fall into a trap of being stereotyped. Because of expectations that Black students aren't going to succeed, students who do succeed tend to fall into this oppositional culture. The term acting white is used to refer Black students who show efforts and determination to do well, and this can lead to negative peer pressures under the bell curve. Although the teachers that have lower expectations for students are present, it is seen in research that many Black students try to overcome this by using it as a motivating factor. In fact, it has been mentioned in many articles that Black students try twice as hard to do well in schools in comparison to white students. Now, how are they working twice as hard, yet there is still this academic challenge? Well, research suggests that students must first create a positive racial identity, meaning that they create, awareness about racism and the potential barriers they must overcome in order to succeed. Once they do that, they have to adapt and develop strategies that allows them to academically perform well. Now, by doing this, the Black students disrupt the social pressures of acting white. As mentioned in Despite the Best Intentions, cultural opposition is very large in high school systems. But by creating awareness, it can break the tensions between student values and the stereotypes they are being played. It is seen that it is more difficult to succeed as a Black student, but with more motivation, it's proven to be done. Even though expectations are low and teachers and faculties set expectations that Black students are going to fail, the Black students overcome this issue and often creates open mindsets for other students. Now, even though they overcome this issue, it brings up the question, why is there still a large achievement gap? Knowing about the systematic failures and how it plays into the gap, it is critical to think about ways in which the gap is entertained today. Opportunity hoarding is a phenomenon that occurs today. While white students, because of their generally high income status, are often able to pay for greater quality education. Tutoring services are available, but because they are expensive, it allows only for people of higher income to afford it. This way, the ways that policies set disciplinary actions impact the students' ways of learning as well. The disciplinary policies don't consider cultural factors in which people of color are brought up or raised upon. Moreover, one policy that inhibits positive learning is the no tolerance policy. This policy does not allow for any mistakes to be given. Being suspended or expelled and taken out of classroom instruction, it is difficult for students to learn the material needed to pass exams. Secondly, missed opportunity is the opportunity that no one knows. Standardized testing does not allow for personalization. Because of the format, some students are not able to show what they know. Moreover, it causes a gap in the school system. No matter how hard a group of students works, the way testing is created and formatted will always hinder the students, especially if no tutoring or preparation instruction is given. Because of the lacking opportunity of students, regardless of motivation, there will always be a large achievement gap because of the systems that are put in place. The barriers, unfortunately, cause missed opportunities, and these missed opportunities are done through the school policies and governmental policies, which are dominated by white, affluent people, so there is no connection when biases are at play. Thank you.